Ben Shephard has always been the picture of professionalism, the man whose smile could brighten up even the grayest weekday morning. Between his early starts on Good Morning Britain, his energy on Tipping Point, and his effortless charm on This Morning, he's become one of ITV's most beloved faces. But behind that familiar smile, those who know Ben best say there was a time when his world felt like it was slipping out of balance. Because long before the cameras rolled and the auto cue flickered to life, there was Annie, his quiet anchor, his best friend, his wife. And for years, she stood patiently behind the scenes while Ben's television career soared. It wasn't fame or fortune that tested them, it was time, or rather, the lack of it. Ben's rise to prominence came with demanding hours and relentless pressure. Those 3 a.m. wake-up calls for GMTV, the endless rehearsals for Tipping Point, and the hosting duties that stretched well into the night, they were all part of the dream. But every dream comes with a price. When their sons, Jack and Sam, were young, Ben made Annie a promise. He told her, "Once they're older, I'll slow down. I'll be around more. I'll make up for the mornings and birthdays I've missed." It was a promise made from the heart, and one that Annie believed. But as the years rolled on, the world kept calling his name louder. Producers wanted more shows. Audiences wanted more Ben. And time, it seemed, wanted less of him. Those close to the couple say the cracks didn't appear suddenly. They crept in quietly, like shadows at the end of a long day. A missed family dinner here, a half-watched football match with the boys there. Moments that once felt small started to add up. Annie, who had always been the calm to Ben's whirlwind, tried to hold everything together. She managed school runs, homework, late-night washing, and family routines, while Ben bounced from studio to studio with his trademark energy. But behind that calm exterior, she was exhausted. Friends say she often told them, "Ben's not doing anything wrong, he's just doing everything else." It wasn't an argument that changed everything. It was something much quieter and far more powerful. One evening, after another long filming day, Ben came home late. The house was quiet. He walked into the living room and saw the remnants of dinner on the table. Spaghetti bolognese, half-eaten, cold. The boys had gone to bed. Annie was sitting on the sofa, reading through school notes, her eyes tired. She looked up, smiled faintly, and said, "You missed Sam's presentation today. He did brilliantly." Ben froze. He'd promised he'd be there. In that moment, the noise of the TV world fell away. He saw for the first time what he'd been missing, not the events themselves, but the life within them. Those who've worked with Ben say that he's always been deeply family-oriented, but after that evening, something changed inside him. In quiet moments between shoots, he began to question his choices. Was he still the father he wanted to be? The husband he'd promised to become? According to one colleague, Ben confided, "I keep telling Annie I'll slow down, but I never really do. I think I'm scared that if I stop, everything I've built might fall apart." It was an honest confession, one that revealed not just a man torn between ambition and love, but someone who truly felt the weight of both. Months later, Ben was preparing for another Tipping Point special. It was a particularly busy time, double recording sessions, back-to-back interviews, and charity events. Meanwhile, Annie had been quietly holding things together at home, until one night, after a particularly long day, she finally let her guard slip. In the kitchen, as Ben unpacked his overnight bag, she simply said, "I feel like I'm living with your shadow. You're here, but not really." There was no anger in her voice, just sadness. Ben later admitted in a rare candid interview that those words knocked the air out of him. It wasn't what she said, but how she said it, calmly, truthfully, lovingly. That night they talked for hours, really talked, for the first time in months, about the boys, their future, their fears, and what truly mattered. After that conversation, Ben did something most wouldn't expect. He stepped back. He began saying no, a word that once felt impossible. No to extra appearances, no to late-night commitments that took him away from family dinners, no to projects that didn't serve the bigger picture. Instead, he said yes to life, to walking the dog with Annie on Sunday mornings, to standing at the sidelines during Sam's football matches, to staying home and helping Jack revise for his exams. Small things that might seem ordinary, but for the Shephards, they were everything. To viewers, nothing seemed different. Ben was still the charming host with the quick wit and warm laugh, but privately, his life had taken a new rhythm. Annie noticed it first. He'd linger longer over breakfast. He'd check in before heading out. He'd ask, "How's your day looking?" and truly listen to the answer. Those little gestures began to rebuild the connection that fame had strained. Ben later said in an interview, "I used to think my family was proud of what I did on TV. Now I know they're proud of who I am when the cameras are off." Close friends of the couple, including a few ITV colleagues, have often praised Annie for her strength and humility. One said, "She's the quiet force behind Ben. She never wanted the spotlight. She just wanted her husband to come home." And when he did, truly come home, things changed. The laughter returned. The boys began teasing him again at dinner, and Annie started smiling in that way she used to, effortlessly, genuinely. It wasn't easy. Balance never is. But Ben and Annie learned something that only time and a few tears can teach. You can't give your best to the world if you've forgotten how to give your heart to those who matter most. Their marriage became less about keeping up appearances and more about staying connected in the quiet, everyday moments, the kind that never make headlines, but define a life. Today, the Shephard's home feels different. It's not grand gestures that make it special, but the simplicity of love lived out daily. Dinner together, no phones. Walks in the rain. Sundays spent watching football instead of filming. Ben once said, "The best role I'll ever have isn't on TV. It's being Annie's husband and the boys' dad." And Annie, ever gracious, has told friends that she sees a new version of her husband, one that's calmer, more present, and deeply thankful. Many working couples relate to their story, that never-ending juggle between ambition and home. Ben has quietly become an advocate for that balance, often reminding others in interviews, success isn't just about what you achieve, it's about what you protect along the way. And perhaps that's what makes their journey so powerful. It's not about perfection, but persistence. The courage to start again even after years of getting it wrong. In a rare family holiday to Cornwall last year, Ben reportedly had a quiet moment with Annie on the beach. As the waves lapped at their feet, he said softly, "Remember when I said I'd slow down? I think I finally meant it." Annie smiled, holding his hand. She didn't need grand promises anymore. She had proof. The proof was in his presence. For her, that was enough. Ben Shephard's story isn't one of scandal or spectacle. It's one of rediscovery, a reminder that even the kindest souls can lose their way when the world demands too much.
But when love is strong and promises are made in good faith, they can always find their way home again. In the end, Ben didn't just reclaim time, he reclaimed himself. And Annie, the woman who stood quietly through every early morning and every late return, finally got what she had been waiting for all along. Not a different man, but the same man, truly present. Their story shows that love isn't about grand gestures or public declarations. It's about coming home, again and again.